Hello to all my dear friends and followers of this channel. First of all, thank you for being here and supporting Elven Lore channel. Your choice to join me on this journey gives me even more motivation to create deep and engaging content for you. Today, we're going to explore the philosophical layers of one of cinema's most intriguing and thought-provoking films, The Devil's Advocate, 1997. This movie is much more than just a legal thriller or a supernatural tale. It's packed with profound philosophical, ethical, and psychological themes that we'll dissect together. Spoiler warning: if you haven't watched this film yet and want to experience it without knowing key details, I suggest watching it first and then coming back to this video. We'll be analyzing major plot points, so spoilers are inevitable. Now, are you ready to dive into the dark, mesmerizing world of John Milton and the moral dilemmas of Kevin Lomax? Then stay with me as we unravel the deeper meanings behind this cinematic gem. Remember, the devil isn't always lurking in the shadows. Sometimes, he's waiting in a tailored The Devil in a Suit, a philosophical critique of The Devil's Advocate, 1997. At first glance, The Devil's Advocate, directed by Taylor Hackford, may appear to be a supernatural legal thriller, the story of Kevin Lomax, Keanu Reeves, a talented young lawyer lured to New York by the enigmatic and charismatic John Milton. But beneath its dramatic courtroom sequences and eerie supernatural overtones lies a rich tapestry of philosophical inquiry. The film touches on deep themes such as the nature of evil, free will, moral responsibility, and the ethical crisis of modernity. 1. Free will versus temptation, existential responsibility. At the film's core is the question of free will. Milton, the devil, insists that he never forces anyone to sin. Instead, he opens doors. It is humans who choose to walk through them. This directly echoes existentialist philosophy, particularly Jean-Paul Sartre's belief that we are condemned to be free in any circumstance, no matter how constraining. We are still responsible for our choices. Example from the film: Kevin could have stepped away from a case knowing his client was guilty, but his pride and desire to maintain a perfect courtroom record led him to defend the indefensible. Philosophical message: even when we are tempted or manipulated, we remain morally accountable. The Devil's Advocate asserts that evil doesn't absolve us of responsibility. It tests the very limits of our agency. 2. Pride, the root of the fall. Milton famously says, "Vanity, definitely my favorite sin." In many religious and philosophical traditions, pride is considered the root of all sin, not merely a personal flaw but a spiritual failing. Philosophically, pride represents a kind of moral blindness, a delusion that prevents individuals from recognizing their faults or acting ethically. Example from the film: Kevin repeatedly ignores the warnings of his wife, Mary Ann, choosing instead to protect his ego and career. His moral decline is fueled not by necessity, but by pride. Philosophical message: pride corrupts moral clarity. From a Kantian perspective, moral action is based on duty, not personal gain or recognition. When Kevin acts to preserve his image rather than uphold what is right, his actions lose their moral worth. 3. The modern devil, evil in the system. In contrast to traditional portrayals, the devil here is not a monstrous being from hell. He is suave, articulate, and embedded in the power structures of society, a high-powered attorney in Manhattan. Evil has modernized. It no longer hides in the shadows but thrives within institutions. legal frameworks, and corporate environments. Example from the film. Milton uses the law, a system meant to protect truth and justice, to enable corruption, defend criminals, and manipulate outcomes. Philosophical message. Drawing on ideas from Michel Foucault and Walter Benjamin. The film suggests that modern power hides its violence within legitimacy. Evil, in our time, is systemic, legal, organized, and polished. This makes it harder to detect, resist, or even define. 4. Moral relativism, the collapse of truth. Throughout the film, Milton manipulates language, law, and perception. He doesn't deny the truth. He reconstructs it. This aligns with postmodern philosophy, where truth and morality are seen as fluid, subjective, and dependent on narrative power. Example from the film. Milton says, "Law is the ultimate backstage pass. There are no rules, just what you can get away with." This reflects a world where truth is performative, and power determines which version of events becomes reality. Philosophical message. This is a critique of moral relativism, the belief that right and wrong depend entirely on context or interpretation. When all values become negotiable, the very foundation of ethics is at risk. The film warns against a world where justice is defined not by principle but by persuasion. 5. Eternal return. At the film's end, after Kevin appears to make the right choice and escape Milton's grasp, he is tempted once again, this time not by supernatural forces, but by the lure of fame via a reporter. Milton reappears, suggesting the game is far from over. Example from the film. Milton smiles in the final shot, saying, "Vanity. It's my favorite sin." The cycle restarts. Philosophical message. This mirrors Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of eternal recurrence, the idea that life's moments repeat endlessly. Temptation is not a one-time event but a recurring challenge. To live authentically is to be conscious of each decision and its repetition. Final thought. The devil is not the story, we are. In the end, The Devil's Advocate isn't just about the devil. It's about us, about how we rationalize our decisions, how we succumb to pressure, and how we often betray our values for status, pride, or comfort. The film leaves us with a crucial philosophical question. If the devil only opens the door, and we choose to step through, who is really to blame? It's a story of agency, morality, and the enduring relevance of ethics in a world where truth is flexible and temptation is constant.